It's good tradition. All right. Today we welcome you again to the our Chan class. Chan class. Hello there, little girl. You feel better today, huh? Huh? Mom feels better too. You can tell right away that mom feels better too today. Last week, mom was in a bad mood. Therefore, she was crying and unpleasant. Yeah. Today, mom feels much better, doesn't she? I can tell right away from looking at her. I don't really need to look at the mother. No. And this is nature of children, by the way. They absorb your emotions like a sponge. And therefore, when you're around children, you have to be very, extremely careful, especially your own children. No matter how big they are, especially when they're teenagers until they leave home, they're very sensitive to your emotions, your state of mind. Okay? It applies to the father and the mother, both. So one of the old tricks that we monks do, the Chan people do, is when we come to someone's house, we talk to the children first and see whether you feel welcome or not. When the children don't like you, then you don't stay there very long. Really, serious. That's an old monk's trick. I need to teach my students these tricks because we're going to be graduating from our novice training class very soon, in 2 months. Therefore, in 2 months' time, I have to change face and treat them with more respect, and hope they don't resent my cruelty and harsh treatment the last all this time. Anyway. What is Chan? Well, there's so many aspects. When you look at our Korean friend here who came back from the world travels, who's still playing with her, that's not even a, see? Concentration right there. You notice how the nature, when you practice Chan, you begin, the Vietnamese and the Japanese like to talk about, you practice meditation, Chan meditation, especially the Koreans too, I notice, in order to become enlightened or see your nature. Am I correct? I mean, I talk to so many Vietnamese and Chinese and Koreans and Japanese teachers. Or I read so many of the books. I just threw away 2 books by a Chinese Zen master a few days ago. And all he talks about is the mind and enlightenment and all those things. It gives me headaches because it makes me think too much. It bothers me. Chan is not about thinking. Chan is about awareness. Okay? You practice Chan, the more you practice meditation, the more aware you become. That is the prerequisite for you to see your nature. So if people the teachers talk about enlightenment and how wonderful enlightenment is, and you're supposed to practice meditation and see in nature. I find it to be boastful and impractical because you don't need to talk about it. To me, I teach meditation to heighten your awareness. Awareness is the prerequisite for seeing in nature. is, you lay the foundation. If you do it right and you go in the right direction, eventually you get there. In this country, you keep on going east, eventually you hit the East Coast. Okay? No two ways about it. All the roads eventually, wherever you go east, is going to go into something called the East Coast. You can't go anymore. Same thing, meditation. You practice meditation, you do it right. If you have the proper technique, eventually you get to something called enlightenment. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need to brag about it. To me, meditation, I teach meditation to help you know how to get there. Not about talking about how wonderful it is. Okay? And how do you know you're going to get there? You're going to get there by by heightening your awareness. Become more and more and more aware as you meditate. And that's how you can tell you're progressing. Okay? Now, you see, the one thing you learn from Chan, what I learned from Chan is the awareness of the nature of our world. It is characterized by two things: movement or stillness. Right? Look at your life. Look at life around us. Look at our lives. It's characterized by either movement or stillness. Okay? You just heard a kid screaming, making noise. What is that? That's movement. Correct? So what do you do about it? The mother goes like this. What is that called? Movement. Right? So you respond to movement with movement. You respond to movement with worry. You never know what she's going to do. She might run through that newly installed gate. Okay? So, if you aware movement, what do? You need to process it, right? And so the nature of our existence is to respond to movement. No? Right? Everything around you moves. The earth moves. The sun moves. Does it? I think so. Okay. So what do? So you see, as far as, she keeps on moving. What are you going to do? What do we do when people around us move? You go to the streets of Tokyo, okay? I noticed that thing that captivates me about the picture of Tokyo and the video of Tokyo is that you see this intersection in Tokyo, in the center of Tokyo, one of those districts, and you have these humongous, tall skyscrapers, these tall buildings, and people, there are people everywhere in that intersection waiting for the light to cross. Okay? So as soon as they can cross, what happens? People go everywhere, right? It's not here in this country where you go only four corners. In Tokyo, they go this way as well. Okay? It's movement. And you push along. You push along when you are in this kind of environment, like in a river, or in a river of people, river of water. When movement pushes you, you go along, right? You have no control over it. That's a smart response. When you have no control, you move along. Correct? Because if you resist, they're going to trample all over you. You get hurt, right? But that's one type of response. You respond to movement with movement. Jesus is turning to not something I was planning on talking about. I was talking about Pullman, now I'm going into movement. Never mind. And we eventually get back to this Chinese gentleman here. So you respond to movement and that, so the circumstances, it's better to move along because the force is too strong, right? There's some cases where you better off being still, right? Like you on a one-to-one basis. When you're one against many, you have to move. You see that? When you're one-to-one, then it's different. When the forces are equivalent in some cases, how do you respond with that? One case, one way is to be still, like a boxer. Okay, when you're in a fight in martial arts, the rule of thumb is that the first one who moves loses. Okay, same thing in boxing. I still remember the picture of Ali, Muhammad Ali. This is way before your time, you young people. Standing there in the center of the ring and his opponents dancing circles around him, you know, and or he would do a rope-a-dope against George Foreman and go into a rope, and then George Foreman would go like this, you know, and Ali just go like this. Yeah. Okay, so stillness when you go into a fight. Now I know my disciple is liking it because we're talking about fighting now. Personal fighting. You want to pick a fight with me? I show you how I'm going to fight. How I'm going to fight them. Suppose someone picks a fight with you. Okay. Suppose you're in a conflict. The best way to win is stillness. That's meditation right there. Okay? Stillness is how you prevail in a fight. Okay. So, any agreement, disagreement, I don't know. You probably wonder why are we talking about fighting and movement and stillness in meditation. That's part of awareness. Okay? So where there's the nature of everything is either in motion or being still, okay, and how it affects you. Okay, questions or comments? Oh, you're so enthused. Very good. Yes. Yes.
And you said it's wise to go to the same direction rather than going reverse.
Right.
Because you will get hurt.
Right.
What if the force going to left to the right is the wrong way?
Right. For example, good question. For example, you have a mass of horses being pushed around, okay, because or cattle being herded along, right? And suppose they're going towards the cliff. What do? Okay? In that case, can you stop? No. What do? You move, right? You move until you get to the edge of that, and you get out. Okay? But the first response is to move. You don't stop. If you stay still, you get injured. So you move along with them, and again, you get out. The stillness eventually wins over movement. You see that? Anything that moves eventually will run out of steam. They become vulnerable when they run out of steam. This is why when you fight, you let them fight. You let them move. You don't do anything. Eventually, they get tired. That's when you kill them. Okay? Until then, you don't do anything. All right? So in Chan, That's one of the first things that Venerable Bodhidharma and my Bodhidharma brought Chan from India to China. And then my late master, Venerable Shenhua, brought Chan from China to the US. And that's one of the first things he taught to us. Bodhidharma came to China, taught that. And Venerable Shenhua came to the US, he taught that as well. What did he teach? He says, no fighting. Okay? If you want to prevail, if you're a superior person, you don't fight. Okay? You learn to control, you learn how to be still. The better time to be still, like closing a sales contract. Okay? You have to learn how to be still when you close, right? You nod in your head. Is that what you do?
I don't know, Chan is not up in the business.
Chan is all about business, my friend. Are you kidding me? Chan is in the business of winning the fight of life and death, the fight between darkness and light, the fight between goodness and evil. Okay? Chan is reality, is not theory. It's about learning how to prevail, how to take charge of your life. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your time learning Chan. Okay? All right. Where are we? Anyway, another aspect of Chan is of meditation. You learn about Mahayana meditation. They're fond of talking about 8 winds. Okay? Anyone heard about 8 winds? You never heard about the 8 winds? Where did you hear? What context did you hear of the 8 winds? Chinese or Japanese? Chinese. The Japanese don't talk about that. The Japanese talk about the moon and those things and wisdom. And Chinese talk about the 8 winds. Okay, this is very Chinese. So let me give you some. When you talk about the 8 winds, then the name Su Tong Po comes to mind. Okay, see winds again. The context, the theme today is wind is movement. Okay, movement is wind. Okay, so Su Tong Po is a very famous personality in the Chinese culture in the 11th century. He's a famous official, a personality he's a famous official in the Song dynasty. Okay, his father is a scholar, an official of the emperor. The emperor admired his father's prose in literature, and so he is a firstborn. And when he was younger, when he was born, he was taught by a Taoist tutor. And then when he was old enough, who was his teacher? His mom taught him. She said, "No one is good enough for my son, so I want to teach my son." And his mom is, so you can tell both parents are very smart, very educated. So that's how she formed him. She formed him, and then he also has a younger brother who was born, and at the age of 17, he took the imperial examination. He and his younger brother took the imperial examination, and the emperor, the Song emperor, before the examination, at the examination, this imperial examination, national examination, he came and he imposed. He asked a question himself, the question about Confucian classics, and he wanted the answer to be written in ancient prose. So it's a very difficult twist of the test that the emperor imposed upon the competitors in the last minute. And it turns out that Su Dongpo and his younger brother got the golden. The golden was ranked at the top, the very top of the whole country. He's his younger brother, and got the golden prize, and which is a requirement for high official positions in the court back then in China. And that's how he became very famous. He became an official and so on, and he was famous for writing a lot of essays on various in proses in various events in the country. Okay, and very influential. And eventually, when you go into politics, there's always ups and downs, and there's parties. And he offended the other party who was kind of corrupt. So they denounced him, and they claimed that his proses were about criticism of the emperor. So he was banished and so on. And that's when he was first banished to Hubei. He got an official title, but he has no remuneration, there's no money. So he was very poor. And what do you people do when they're poor? In China, this is Chinese tradition that we also kept as Buddhist monks. What do you think that Chinese tradition is here? When you're poor, what do you do? Yeah, you build a hut by a river, and then you live a quiet life. And then what do you do? You meditate. There's a theme here. This is when Su Dongpo first learned about meditation, and he loved it, because with all these turmoils in political life and the lack of food at home, and he has a lot of wives to feed. What do? Everyone's complaining. What do? You meditate. You withdraw into yourself, stillness, to deal with it, because that's the only thing left you have. Same thing with monks. What do you think? Why do you think in the Chinese tradition we emphasize meditation so much? My master, for example, he came here, and by the time he was very successful and very rich, he was still driving around in a beat-up car. His car is so old, so ugly, such a bad shape. And he's still driven around. He doesn't drive, by the way. Monks are not supposed to drive. So he's really going around in this beat-up car, this American beat-up car, not even German or Japanese. It's the American car, and it's such bad shape. And in spite of all these temples, all the money, people give him millions, checks of millions of dollars, just like that, he still drives around a beat-up car. Why? It's because it's a spirit of Chan. There's no attachment to material things. Okay, and the great Chan masters, they live a very simple life, very simple life, very humble conditions. Okay, and it's something about the simplicity of life, the modesty, the modest attitude that kind of prevents you from self-indulgence. Okay, they're not attached to material things anymore. Yes, they have a lot of it. They have a lot they're very powerful, they're very rich, and yet they're not attached to material things. There's something about that that's remarkable to me. You know? And in the case of Su Dongpo, he had no choice back then. He was very poor, and he's very honest as a man, as an official. He was, at time, he was even a judge, and he wouldn't take bribes at all. Okay, plus the literature says the official position, he has 3 wives. Actually, my master says that he had 7 wives. Okay, so in spite of poverty, he enjoyed life.
7 wives and he's poor?
Oh yeah, that's when you put the wives to work.
Poor and he wants 7 wives?
Yeah, you put the wife to work. You see, you're poor, but your wives go to work. This is very Chinese. Yeah, you guys don't appreciate it. You know, the Chinese know how to live. I mean, Chinese men know how to live. You know, I hate to break the news to you, you Korean lady, but in China, the way I learned it, and I like it a lot, is that they marry a lot. They have a lot of wives and concubines, and when you're poor, you put them to work. When you're rich, what do? You buy houses for them separately, so you invest in real estate. You like that, huh? That's the Chinese wisdom, by the way. So anyway, so this guy is very interesting. So he's artistic. He's very creative as a man. And what's interesting about his life is that he discovered meditation, and it fueled his creativity. By the way, it really fueled his creativity. That's why later his poems were incredible. At first he started writing essays. Later on he moved on to calligraphy and to poetry and all kinds of things. He had tremendous contribution to Chinese literature. And so one day, and he has a buddy, a monk whose temple is across the lake from his house, and so they are very good friends, because that monk happened to be a Chan monk, Chan master, Master Fo Yin, Buddha seal, okay, who happened to be a co-cultivator of Su Dongpo in a prior life. This is why Su Dongpo is very creates a lasting impression in Chinese culture, and especially he's beloved by the Japanese too, by the way, because of the fact that he used to do Chan before with the other monk in a prior life, and then he went he died, and before the other monk was meditating, he realized his friend, his best friend, is going to go become Su Dongpo, and the guy's going to be in trouble. So what did the monk do? He says, I'm going to follow my friend to protect him, to be with him. So the monk followed Su Dongpo, and that's to protect Su Dongpo and watch over Su Dongpo. And when Su Dongpo came, the monk came to this world and became a lay person. The monk, the other person became a monk, and managed to draw near Su Dongpo. Yes? No? See, I'm very insecure when people like this. What? They both love meditation, but one does it professionally, the other one does it as part of his daily practice to keep up with his wives and his work. I mean, so they're very good friends. And Su Dongpo happened to be, this is based on a Chinese information, not the English information. Su Lung-po has 7 wives. His last wife is a young, very young wife. Okay, very pretty. Because Su Lung-po, being an artistic, is he likes beautiful people as well. So beautiful thing is beautiful people. So his young wife is very pretty and very, very attractive. So one day, the monk Chan Master Fu Yin came over for a visit, and Su Lung-po lost a bet to Fu Yin Chan Master. So the price was that Su Lung-po says, I have nothing, I can't pay you. So the master says, well, you can pay me for your young wife. And Su Lung-po says, no way, I like her. I can't live without her. So Fu Yin says, how about living without her for a night? And Su Lung-po says, okay. And so he gave his youngest wife to Chan Master Fu Yin. So she followed him back to Fu Yin's temple for one night. That's the nature of their relationship. Because Fu Yin was fooling around with him. So Su Lung-po said, okay, I'm going to call your bluff. Here, take my wife. And I think that's where Rodney Dangerfield learned his trade from a Chinese. Anyway, so the young wife, this is a Chinese anecdote. So the young wife went to Su Lung-po, to Fu Yin's, Chan Master Fu Yin's temple to spend the night with Chan Master Fu Yin in the same room. Okay? Same room. What do you think? You think he was kidding? You didn't hear this story? Huh? You heard about this story? Oh, time is almost up. I was talking something more profound, but you seem to be more interested in it. So what happened at that night? Hey, listen. When you practice Chan, you have to seize the opportunity when it comes, right? So that night, she spent the night, Su Lung-po's wife spent the night with Master Fu Yin. And then she came back. Fu Yin brought her back. Fu Yin is very, very, very gentleman. After that, he brought her back. And so Su Lung-po was there waiting. He couldn't believe that the Chan monk would take up on his offer for real, And so he's waiting. He's pacing back and forth in front of his property. And he saw, So Fu Yin was rowing the boat across the lake with the young wife across the lake over, and to bring his wife back, a young wife back. So Su Lung-po brought his wife. She said, okay, so brought his back wife, and I said, what happened? And what did his wife do? She told him, he brought me into his room. And it was cold, it was a winter's night. So he brought in a coal, back then in China, they cook things on these coating, these things, these pottery things. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think you Caucasian people know about, modern people know about it, but this is very Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean, Asian kind of thing, where they have these like a how do you describe that? Like a
stone.
Yeah, metal bowl. It's not metal actually. It's pottery. It's a clay, okay. And it's around they have a metal thing, right? To I don't know for what for. Maybe to prevent chipping or something. And then it has like 3 legs on top. A tri. It's like a. Yeah, it's just like a pot, a planting pot. Okay, like this, and it's the very same shape. And on top there are 3 legs, so you can put a pot, and underneath it's empty inside, you know. So that now you can put coal in there or wood in there and you burn it. And now the fire comes up and you heat up things. That's how you cook things. So you put those things, you bring that thing into his room and then light the coal, okay, to warm up the room. And then Sulungpo says, and then, he says, when it's warm enough, he brought in another one to make sure it's warmer. And he brought in a total of 7 of them. And Sulungpo says, and then, and she says, and then I took off his clothes, his monk clothes. And then, and the lady says, and then he took off his slippers. And then, go on, what else? And then he started walking on those 7 things. So, what? He walked on top of these 7 burning things. And then Sulungpo, aha, he immediately understood. Why? Why trade it? You married, aren't you? Okay, why?
Thầy con nghĩ các ông nhập từ nó đi.
And this is what happened in Lu Chan. You can walk on hot coals. And that's how the Indians imitated us later. Never mind. See, we go from American to India. Yes? What do you think?
1 for each wine.
1 for each?
Was one of the braziers for each wine.
Very good. This man is smart. My goodness. Which country are you from now?
England.
England. See, you can tell. Very wise man. Very good. 1 represents a woman, Sulungpo's wife. So he says he's walking on 7 hot things all night. Isn't it beautiful? Super. Aha! He's telling me I'm oversexed. Okay? That's the nature of their relationship, by the way. And Fu Yin is a very gentle way of saying, hey, Sulungpo, don't overdo it, okay? Because it's each one of them is a hot pot. So one day Sulungpo was meditating, and we're moving back to meditation, okay, folks, it's not always about worldly things. And he entered Samadhi. And then as soon as he finished meditation, he wrote a poem, a very famous poem in Buddhism. It's not lauded out there, but in Buddhism, it's a very famous poem, and let me share it with you today. In Chinese here, I don't know, you can recognize that. Can you read Chinese characters or not? Not anymore? No? Some you can? Okay. Since most of you can read English, I won't try to explain this in Vietnamese for you. It says, I lower my head to the God among gods, whose hairlight illuminates the Saha world. Unmoved by the 8 winds, I sit erect on a purple golden lotus. Okay, and this is why in the Chan folklore, when you talk about the 8 winds, you immediately brings to mind Sulungpo's poem. Okay, and what does it mean? I lower my head to the gods among gods. What is that? He's talking about, he's sitting there and he enters Samadhi. What did he do? He saw the Buddha, the God among gods. He has this vision. He saw the Buddha. Okay? And the Buddha appeared to him, Buddha's hair radiates light. If you open your spiritual eye, you can see that the Buddha's hair emits light. Every single hair emits light. Okay? And his light emits, radiates and emits light. His hair emits light for a purpose. He emits light to shine it upon the Sahara world. He's watching over us. Okay? And that's what Su Po saw. He saw, whoa, he was sitting, and I'm pretty sure his eyes were closed. You do Chan meditation. The way we teach you, you should be closed. Your eyes should be closed. And you're not supposed to be sleepy. And so he sat there in meditation. He has this picture of the Buddha who's sitting there, very adorned, and whose light was radiating light. And so Rinpoche says, I sat there erect, okay, unmoved by the 8 winds on a golden lotus, okay. That's how Su Rinpoche saw himself. All right. So he wrote that poem, and he was so proud of it. He said, "Wow, quite a great poem." So he sent it over. He called his servant to send it over across the lake to Phổ Yin, his buddy, and say, "Hey, Phổ Yin, okay, look at what look at my poem." So Chan Master Phổ Yin was meditating, and Su Rinpoche's servant knocked on the door and showed him the poem, and Phổ Yin immediately took a pen and wrote 2 characters. Okay, and sent it back. Immediately reply, no thinking. As soon as I saw the poem, took out a pen, ding ding, sent it back, go back. Okay, so Su Rinpoche got the poem back, his poem back, and look at it. What does it say on top of that? You don't know? This is very famous. This is Chan folklore. You cannot learn Chan, not know about this. You cannot learn meditation, not know about this. Okay? Shame on you. Where do you learn meditation from? Horrible. I won't go back to that teacher. Huh? What does it say? The 2 characters says, fart. Fang pi. So Su Rinpoche look at his beautiful poem, his masterpiece, and it says, fart. He was so upset, as you could imagine. He immediately got on the boat himself, rowed across the boat in 5 minutes. He immediately rowed across the lake and got into Phổ Yin's temple, got in without knocking, kicked it down the door and said, "What do you mean, fart?" So Phổ Yin looked at him calmly and says, "You unmoved, huh? And 2 farts move you across the lake. How can you be unmoved?" And that's when Su Rinpoche, and Su Rinpoche lost again. So that's what happened is that between Su Rinpoche and Phổ Yin, there's always a rivalry. This is how they help each other cultivate, by the way. They challenge each other. And so historically, Su Rinpoche always lost to Phổ Yin. Every single time Su Rinpoche got the upper hand, thought he got the upper hand, Phổ Yin actually prevailed. Except for the one instance where Phổ Yin admitted defeat. And Su Rinpoche was very happy. That's a different time, a different story. Okay. Which I have to look up. I forgot what the event was. But so this is a Chan concept right here. The 8 winds. Okay. What are the 8 winds? Does anyone know? When you learn Chan, you got to know what the 8 winds are. Yes, Amy. What are the 8 winds? You raise your hand, right? No? Oh, you're covering your mouth. That's different. Yes? What are the 8 winds?
Lợi, suy, quỷ dự, xưng cơ.
Very good. Answer is Vietnamese. Okay, the 8 winds. The 8 winds symbolize things that blow. Things are always moving. And these things will move you. They're so powerful they move you. See that? What are these 8 winds? The things, the 8 kinds of forces that will move you. You cannot resist. Okay? So what are they? The Vietnamese know that already. How about the rest of you? Don't look it up on the internet. All you have to do is type in 8 winds. It should come up. I haven't done that, but you do it Chinese, it's definitely in Chinese. Okay? Vietnamese, Bác Phong. Yes? Japanese, absolutely. Korean, maybe. Okay? What are the 8 winds? 8 winds are, I just corrected this morning. Okay. The 8 winds are, okay, this has you've got to memorize. This is very important meditation concept. 8 winds. Okay? Memorize it. You have 10 minutes to memorize it, and then we go to lunch. Got that? What are the 8 winds? Gain, loss, the 4 pairs. 8 winds are the 4 pairs. Can you see it? You can't see it? No? Too small? Complain.
Oh, perfect.
Better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. 8 winds. Can you see it now? A little bit bigger. The Chinese is more interesting information. Okay?
Buồn vui. Buồn vui là suy, quỷ dự,
Very
xưng cơ.
important. Okay, this is your
Buồn vui,
homework. You got to
quỷ dự,
memorize
xưng cơ.
this.
Buồn với vui. Quỷ bán với lại khen ngợi. Được thất, được với mất.
Okay?
Được mất.
3 and 4.
Lợi.
Yeah, this is not something you hear often.
Quỷ nhục, xưng khen ngợi.
Okay, 4 pairs. 4
Với
pairs.
buồn vui.
It's a very simple concept.
Buồn
8
vui,
winds.
cái,
There are
cặp.
4 pairs of opposites. You see the opposites here? They group together in opposite pairs of opposites. Okay? So first of all, okay, we have to move quickly because I'm hungry already.
Buồn vui.
All this good smell that keep on going to your nose. Okay? Gain and loss. See that? Gain and loss. This is our primary urges, you ask me. Gain and loss, right, ma'am? That's what life is about. What do I gain out of this? Why should I help you? Why should I do it for you? What's in it for me? Right? Gain and loss. When you lose something, you're very unhappy. Next one is infamy or laudation.
Khen với chê đó. Khen chê.
Okay? What does it mean? Infamy means bad
Khen
name,
chê.
bad reputation, and good reputation. So far, so good. Next group, next pair, praise and criticism. Okay? And suffering and joy. It's very simple. Have you got it memorized? No? You got it? What is the difference between pair number 2 and pair number 3? Infamy, laudation, and praise and criticism. What's the difference? This is usually unclear for most people who memorize it. What's the difference? See, even the Vietnamese have to think. Yes.
Giúp em một bên là dẫn là có một bên là thị phi, bên là tức là khen và chế, tức là cái praise and criticism, and cái infamy and laudation nghĩa là.
Then you can tell that the Vietnamese hasn't got the 8 winds down pat yet. Yes, the Chinese have a chance.
The first pair has to do with reputations,
Uh-huh.
and the second has to do with like flatteries and.
The Chinese ain't got it either. Yes,
The first
Miss
one
Korea.
is accumulation of the second pair.
Very creative but wrong.
Cái một bên là cái quyền lợi mới là thực chất, còn bên là cái tiếng tâm, cái tinh thần của mình, cái ngã ta mình được khen chê, bên này được tiền, được lợi.
He's off the tracks. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Is infamy and laudation sort of incoming things, and praise and criticism outgoing? So that you're praising or criticizing something, but you're receiving infamy or.
You're out of your depth. Yes, ma'am.
I think infamy and laudation is something that was probably spoken, so it's movement, more movement.
Yeah.
The other one
and?
is more, because the other one is more praise and criticism.
Which country are you from, ma'am?
The praise and criticism would be more an idea or more thought form than it is spoken.
Okay, we remain unknown country, but wrong. Yes, sir. Switzerland.
It's just like one is among like a group, like behind your back versus in your face.
This guy has the answer already. He read it already. He knew about the 8 winds already. That's why unfair advantages. The only difference is between here is positive and negative. One is these things happen without you knowing about it. I mean, behind your back. It doesn't have to be in front of you. This is in front of you. This is more personal right here. Praise and criticism is more personal. People come and criticize you or praise you. You have to respond to it right away. Whereas the other one is like, you have time. Okay? It does not require immediate reaction, immediate attention, but it's much bigger. The infamy and the laudation is much bigger force, but it's not as personal. They explain in literature as behind you, but it's not quite that. In Chan, this is the one they explain like that. I can tell these people don't understand Chan yet. You see where I'm going? The concept is the wind, not behind or in front. So these people explain on that, they don't understand the 8 winds yet. They don't understand Chan yet. It's about the force involved. The 3 and 4, infamy and laudation, the force is humongous. Right? Like you walk in the room, Trivia had the experience. They walk in the room, he says, that guy, he's evil. Everyone look at you like you're a monster, right? That's infamy. Everyone feels that way about you, Trivia. Okay? It's not necessarily behind your back. You see that? Does it make sense to you? You see why in a Chan concept, it's like we're talking about this is a herd of horses, of cattle pushing you. Okay? You have to deal with that accordingly. Whereas praise and criticism, here, If someone comes and criticizes you, what do? You take out a gun and shoot him. It's that simple. I mean, we don't promote that, but you see that as a different way because it's a much smaller force. However, it's personal. It demands attention immediately, like fart. Right? Got it? That's the 8 winds. Those are the things that make us move constantly. So you have to be aware of those forces. What kind is it? Why are you moving? When you're moving, it's usually in response to the 8 winds. Think about it. Your life is heavily affected by the 8 winds. Okay? So if you are in movement, okay, if you're moving, you better be aware why and what forces are making you move. That's Chan right there. Make sense? You don't know what forces are making you move. You're in trouble. You live in confusion. Questions? You see, when I first learned about the 8 winds in the context of Chan, is about explain about the ways that, infamy and laudation. I struggle a lot with infamy and laudation. They use different names, and with the translation from Chinese, original Chinese, is much more accurate. And it's old Chinese, so when the translation was made, the people didn't quite understand the Chinese characters, the old Chinese characters. But more importantly, they don't understand the Chan concept about these winds. Okay, that's why I struggle a lot with it. I couldn't understand the difference between the two groups, infamy and laudation, and the second group, praise and criticism. I mean, it seems to be repetitive, but it's not because of the forces involved. You see that? That's the only difference. You have to respond differently. Yes?
So when Su Dong Po wrote the poem on the third line, say, moved by the
8 winds,
he was totally at peace, not...
Yes, he's so happy. Like that even his youngest wife yelled at him. He said, "No, it's okay." You see, when your spouse is unhappy with you, that's number 6, criticism. Okay? What do? You don't fight back. You smile. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Yes, yes. Okay? That's how we Chan people deal with our spouses. Yes, yes. Make sense? You let them blow the top off until they're tired. That's when you make a move. You don't fight when they're still strong. And they come at you, more. You say, okay. You let them they let them exhaust themselves with their emotions. Then you beat up on them after they're tired. That's called fighting. Okay? You choose the right time to beat them up. With compassion, of course. Does it help? All right. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I just heard a nice way that this story was translated. The final punchline by Korean. It was something like, the 8 winds cannot move you, but it only takes 2 farts to blow you across the river.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that punchline. Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you for coming, and we invite you all to lunch.